Okay, here we're going to talk about putting holes in a part, either as a pocket or as a hole. Either way is technically legal in Catia, but we do have best practices. Sometimes these are called company standards, or in this class, we call them the class standards. And companies recommend you do it their way, and of course, in the class, you lose points if you don't do it the class recommended way. So let's take a look at this in detail now. Okay, so pockets versus holes. Here's the pocket icon and the hole icon. And of course, we're talking about circular pockets here. Rectangular removals, have to be done with the pocket command. Okay? Let's take a look at this in a real part. Let's go to Catia. Here we have a little starter model. I'm going to go to Sketcher, and I'm going to sketch on this plane. And I'm going to sketch a little rectangle, and I'm going to sketch a little circle. Now, we've already learned that it's okay to have two closed profiles as long as they're not intersecting. Let's make a pocket, and let's choose the up to last option and say OK. And then let's make that pocket, say, green. There we go. So both of those are the pocket and the tree, and this is a circular pocket. Okay. Now let's go make a hole over here using the hole icon. Now remember, these are sketch-based features. Well, I don't have a sketch over here, but watch what happens with the hole icon. When you select it, let's make the diameter a little bigger. Okay. And let's make it go up to last and say OK. Look at here in the tree. It actually created a sketch for the hole. Let's unhide that sketch. And you see the sketch for a hole is actually just a point. It's not a circle. And I'm going to actually color that hole yellow. Okay. So here we see, just like this picture here, the green part was made with a pocket, the green hole, and the yellow hole was made with the hole icon. When we say hole in the Catia world, we mean the hole icon. If you are referring to the green removal here, you should say the green pocket. Even though it's circular and looks like a hole, it is technically not a hole. Okay. And we've pointed out that the sketches are quite different for both of these features. Okay. So when should we make a hole a hole, and which should we make a hole a pocket? Well, it comes down to how they're made. Holes are made with drill bits. So you have a drilling machine, whether it's handheld or a machine, and drills come straight down, or I should say in a straight line. They could actually go in an angle if you wanted. You can have a hole, but it's a up and down motion. And holes will also be threaded or put screws in them. Okay, and there's all kinds of drill bits. They don't have to be just a straight drill bit. They can be counterbored, countersunk, and all kinds. Okay, but all of them come in a straight direction. Okay. Pockets, however, don't go down; they go around. So you have what they call a milling bit. And the milling bit goes down into the material, and then it follows a path. If it follows a circular path, then it ends up cutting something that looks like a hole, but it's not. It's considered a pocket. Now you see here on the right this picture of a milling machine cutting a circular pocket. Okay. Now typically, these circular pockets would not be threaded. They're not considered counterbored or countersunk or anything like that. And but the most important thing is they're cut with a milling machine. Okay. The other item is that in the pocket definition box, well, there's a few things that you can specify. But in the hole definition box, there are all these different tabs at the top: extension, type, thread definition. And each one of those has an extensive menu system for all the different things you can specify about a hole. The thread diameter, the thread depths, whether it's counterbored, countersunk, and all those different options. And in fact, if we go back to the Catia world and we take a look at this hole and we double click it, we can actually switch it after it's been made. We'll switch it to a counter bore now, and we'll switch the diameter of the counter bore and say OK. Now we have a counter bored hole. Now we could maybe fake it over here in the pocket world by drawing another circle on top and having that circle come down. But on the right-hand side, when this is made with the hole command, there are machines that can actually look at this part and determine which is a hole and which is not, and it will select the right drill bit to actually make this yellow hole. So that's part of the manufacturing process. Another thing to point out is that patterns receive the properties of the hole. So for instance, just this one little hole here was made with the hole command. The rest of these holes were made as part of a pattern. But that's okay. They will pick up the thread definitions from the original hole. Okay. So what are our classroom standards? Well, the classroom standards are that anything under 20 millimeters or equal to 20 millimeters and below is going to be made with a hole. Anything bigger than 20 millimeters, that's a pretty big diameter there. You're going to be hard to find a drill bit that's that big. So we've just kind of set this at 20 for the class. Now, if you go to a company, that may be different. Okay. Now, the other thing is you could have a hole that's bigger than 20 millimeters that actually needs to be a hole and threaded. If that's the case, make it a hole. The same is true. You could have a pocket that's less than 20 millimeters. It's actually going to be made by machining it rather than drilling it. And if that's the case, then make it a pocket. Well, we're not going to get into those confusing situations in class. In class, anything under 20 millimeters is a hole. Over 20 millimeters is a pocket. That's the final word.